True.
Uh,
There we go.
and we'll go live with this magic button. Where is it? Okay. Custom streams. Okay, we should be good.
We are live streaming.
We are live streaming. I believe we are. I hope we are. Yes, we are live. Awesome.
There we
So,
go.
without further to do, we are here live in the private Facebook group. I'm so excited for this. Welcome Denise to the, you know what, I might make this a series, but I really wanted to do this with you. I'm so excited
Oh,
to,
thank you so much for that. That means a lot to me.
yeah, absolutely. Living my abundant life every day, is so important. And for those that don't know, Denise, she's a rock star, very consistent, a great mindset, and she really, really embodied a lot of the material, that we work together. And I'm just really excited to tap in a little bit and help everyone in this group get to know who you are and your journey, and also more of what you're creating this year and how you're making a great impact. Um, I know this year is another growth spurt for you, and uh, I'm always grateful to meet amazing people. And yeah, I can go on and on about an intro. So, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to introduce yourself. Where you're from, and how we connected, and what got you excited to do this today.
Oh, wow. Well, first, let me just say, Jamel, thank you so much for having me and for sharing your platform, for giving people a spotlight. This is, such an amazing work that you're doing. So I just want to pause and thank you because you devote so much of your energy and your time to people. And for me personally, you have really given me the opportunity to grow in so many ways that I was not expecting. And then you still continue to support me. And this is after, for years of us being connected. For everyone, my name is Denise De Leon, as Jamel mentioned, and I work full time as a treasury analyst. And on the side, I'm a business owner for digital marketing. And what I do is I promote Digital Wealth Academy, which is a course that helps people make extra income because that's how I started with thinking into results. And that's how I met Jamel, actually. In 2023, I think that's when we first spoke. And I remember it was in November because that was the time where I was really looking at Bob Proctor's material. And I would watch all of his material on YouTube, and I would just try to find as much information as I could because this was just a new mindset or a new way of thinking. And I wanted to get out of my situation that I was in, which is in a financial struggle. And I wanted to improve my life. I'm a single mom of two kids. Right now, they are 19 and 18. So they're not kids anymore. They're adults. And that is another story for another day. But as a single mom, having another source of income is so important. And so I was looking into Bob Proctor's material for that reason. I needed a different mindset to get me out of the situation I was in because that wasn't working out for me. And so I opened up my own business and I sold it online, and someone was making extra income. So I wanted to do the same thing and follow the same steps. So I'm promoting Digital Wealth Academy course. So if anyone is interested in learning on how to make extra income, they can do the same. And during that time, I was looking for mentorship because I was brand new at this and I did not know how to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I needed accountability for sure, because I needed to make this happen. So that was the year 2023 when I met Jamel and I created my brand new Instagram page, and it's Purpose with Denise. At the time, it was something else, but now we're sticking with Purpose with Denise. And I was introduced by Jamel, who introduced himself to me first as someone who had the entrepreneurship spirit. So we connected in that way. And I didn't find out until later that he was a coach for Bob Proctor. Well, what is it? Proctor Gallagher Institution. So that is when it really kicked off because we really build our relationship based on that mutual love of Bob Proctor. And I really wanted to dive into the material even further and learn anything that I could. So that's when I decided in January of 2024, the beginning of, I don't know if you remember, Jamel,
I
but
don't.
it was beginning of January 2024 is when I started thinking into results program. And that's when I started the mentorship. And now I'm thinking about it. We're in the beginning of January 2026. It's 2 years later, like my 2 year anniversary, basically.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're having this call is definitely not coincidental.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for reminding me. I could have checked, but I can't believe that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I did some homework. I will say that. I was looking into, when was the first time we connected and going through, our history and the thinking into results. Obviously, that's material that I would always keep with me forever. I think this material, it has been around forever for
Yeah.
sure. And it's definitely a testimony because the first few months, I created my first product, which is a journal, and I have it here. Manifest Your Dreams. I published it. And this was a journal because you and I started writing down, our 6 tasks for the day. And I would use this daily and write down my 6 tasks. And I created a journal and I published it on Amazon. And, it didn't do that well. I will say that, but it was my first, product that I created of my own, something that I can say is mine. And I put out there into the world. And I think that's when the spark really started with us because I was learning more and more about the business on how to be a digital marketer. But with the understanding and the teaching of thinking into results, we dived into the material and we did a lot of articles. And one of the articles that we read was the 333 story. And you know where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
333 story is one of my favorite stories because it talks about how, they build a fundraising and they were able to fundraise, what was it, $3 million.
Hmm.
And they had, what was it, 3 days or 3 hours to get it done. So that's where the 333 comes. And it just really inspired me to just think about how could I utilize this in my own business. And so instead of, doing it in that way, I said, I'll do a challenge for myself. One of the things that I really needed to do was post on a daily basis. And that was something I was really uncomfortable doing is posting and talking in front of a camera. And the fact that you and I are sitting down like this so comfortably is something that I would never think that I would be able to do when I first started.
I
And
love
so
it.
posting it on a daily basis. And this was in April. And I remember this was something I wanted to accomplish by my birthday because my birthday was April 25th. But I made it a 30-day challenge for April and I posted consistently. And by doing that, I was able to get my first client. And that's when I saw, okay, this material works.
Yeah.
It really does, because first you have to be in that mindset of abundance and you have to be positive. And that's very difficult when you're struggling and you're financially in a hardship and you're working a 9 to 5. That can be stressful. And I'm a parent. So, on top of that, parenting teenagers at the time, very difficult, very stressful. And trying to change that around and every day say thank you, just being grateful. So it took step by step, day by day. And Jamel, you were with me every week on those calls. Sometimes, I couldn't show up, but you still did. And you gave me a recording of the call, and I was able to watch the call. And I would just, hit myself like, you should have been on that call. Because these calls were so good. You always left me with so much value. And that's one of the things that, I learned from these lessons is always leave with the person that you're talking to with a lot of value. And I hope that's what I'm able to accomplish on this call, is adding a lot of value to anyone who's watching. Because if you have a question on, you know, how can I change my life? I would highly suggest, any type of self development is always going to be helpful. And I would say I was able to see, that in 30 days of April, I got one client, but after that, it consistently repeating itself, and I would gain another client, and I got more comfortable in front of a camera. And on top of that, I was able to go to Japan with my kids. It was a lifelong dream of mine. We went in the end of June, and, right after they got out of school, and I was able to book a ticket. We stayed at a 5-star hotel, the
Mm.
Okura in Tokyo. Breathtaking. I never stayed in a hotel like that before. My kids were experiencing things that I have never experienced in my life. And now it's like a thing for them to say, yeah, I've been to a 5-star hotel. I ate at a 5-star restaurant. I went to Japan and I have traveled. And then it continued on in my life. As you know, we had continued to have family trips, and I was able to support my family and make extra income. And now it's progressing to the point where I'm helping so many others do the same. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, because when we first started the TIR program, I had a monetary goal. I wanted to be a millionaire. And I was saying that loud and proud. And then I had a realization that, you know what, money is not what brings you happiness. What brings you happiness is helping others. I definitely love to see that I can have a positive impact in someone's life. So I said, I want to use this business to help my community and help, all the people around me, my family and friends, although they're really not that optimistic. Usually it's strangers that will often come up to you and that will listen to you, what you have to say. But family and friends are usually the ones that are reluctant. But I noticed something. They're always observing. So
Yeah, they're probably watching right now.
probably, I will say
Hi.
this. It's been what, almost 3 years, and where I have my business, and now people are starting to approach me that are family and friends, and even coworkers. So it's really nice to see that, because I don't want to just only help, people that I don't know, strangers. I do want to help everyone around me, because it's so important that I impact my surroundings, people that I work with. I want to see them prosper as well. And honestly, all the value you have given me on these calls, I take that in consideration, that, every time you sit or speak to someone, you always want to give them your undivided attention, because that's the best reward or the best gift you can ever give someone. Can't give them money, give them your time for sure. So that has really gotten to a point where now I'm thinking of creating my own course, my own business. Well, it's just in my own name. And now I'm going to take the next step and evolve basically and really make this into an international company like I want it to be.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, congratulations. I love
Thank
to
you.
hear your awareness raise and your mindset improve over time as well. Beyond, your growth has been tremendous, you know. For those that don't know, Thinking into Results is a 6-month mentorship. So, and Denise took an extra level and went another 4 months with another mentorship. And, they're very powerful calls, extremely transformational knowledge. And it's funny because I know it so well, but I had to kind of tell you like, hey, Denise, trust me, when you read this, you can't unlearn it, right? You can't, you open a door to a whole nother world that you had within you. And I'm so happy to see you grow,
I
from
appreciate
that
that.
first call. So you did touch on it a little bit. So what were you seeking to be or achieve before mentorship?
Yeah, I was definitely in a mindset of I need to make money and I need to
Okay.
be a millionaire quick. And during the journey, I was able to accomplish so much and so quickly too. And I had to pause. I really did have to pause because I had to reevaluate what message I wanted to put out in the world. Is it really money that's really important, or is it really your purpose? And that's when Purpose with Denise came, because I started really following the spirit. For me, my faith was built during this time in the mentorship where I really just depended on the spirit to lead me. Whereas before, I was just writing things that I thought this world could give me, which was the happiness of money. And I learned it was really through the experiences that I had with my kids, the bonding, like being in a 14-hour plane ride with them. I would say was the best time of my life. And a lot of people would probably think that's really crazy to say, but for me, I enjoyed it immensely. Yes, the five-star hotel was beautiful and it was fun and I loved it every second. The service was amazing. But, we also stayed in three-star hotels and that was just as amazing because I was with my children and I had the freedom to really just do what I wanted to do. We went to Disney World for the first time in my life, and I am 40 years old, and I had never went to Disney. And so I was able to finally go, and we stayed in Universal Studios for New Year's Eve. And so we really got to celebrate the end of the year in such an amazing way that I never thought of. And yes, you need money for those things. But at the same time, I was also in a situation where I felt that I had to do what people always told me is work hard, grind hard, and save your money. And I really wasn't in the mindset of there's other things outside of, your surroundings to help you grow. And this really touched that where I was able to just use my mind more and use the inspiration that I was getting from the spirit. I knew that I wanted to help people, and then I knew I'm creative, and I know I love content creating,
Hmm.
and I love talking to people. And so I worked in the financial industry for 17 years. That background experience will help me to help others financially as well. So I felt that, the spirit really helped me to overcome what I thought was the right direction. And it said, you know what, like GPS, when you go on the wrong street, it just redirects you and reroutes you.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt that the spirit was doing. It was rerouting me to stay grounded and rooted to my true purpose in life.
I love it. I love it. You shared so much there. And I have to give a little bit of coaching on this call. If for those that are watching, happiness comes from within, not from
Mhm.
without. So it doesn't, nothing outside of you can sustain happiness.
Okay.
It's just through years of growth for me. We go looking outside for the greener pastures, and not to realize that we had everything from within. So happiness comes from within. Because there's some very wealthy people that are not happy or have a bunch of things and they're just not, where they want to be, you
That
know.
is so right.
So what inspired you to just be open to mentorship?
I really wanted a change in my life, like drastic change. I would say the fact that you have to, when I first did my business, I did that in an act of faith. And you have to just really want to change your life. And I feel like with anything that you want to do, if you really want to lose weight, for instance, you have to be super motivated and want that in for yourself. And so for me, I wanted to change my lifestyle. I did not want to be working for somebody else all my life. I also saw people around me who have worked in the industry that I work in for many years and retired, and their retirement is just not enough. And they get something that I don't get, which is a pension on top of their retirement. So I was thinking, if you're retired and you're also getting a pension that I don't even receive because I was born, years after,
Hmm.
then what do I need to do? I need to change something up myself. And so that's when I really started focusing on self development. That's when I found Bob Proctor. And that's when I said, okay, there's people out there that understand this, and I need to be in the same mindset as them and need to learn what is it that they do, because it's what I'm surrounded by. It's not changing anyone's life. And I can see it all around me. I don't have a lot of people that can give me the experience to tell me this is what you need to do and to be successful. So I need to be surrounded by those people. And that's when I knew I just had to change my environment. And, getting into the mentorship program, that's what helped me to get closer to, people like you, Jamel. And then you introduced me to others as well. And now that community has expanded and grown.
Yeah, your environment is so key, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we get so conditioned to be in our regular environments, right? And we tie it into our identity, and it shapes our entire future. I always love that quote. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time around. And it's so true.
Yeah, it's true.
you
Yeah.
know. And guess what? I had to get out of my environment to be where I'm at right now, So it's cyclical, right? Because we get so used to just falling into environment, we just stay there. And then we're wishing and hoping rather than taking a so-called risk towards the future you want. And that is a
Yeah.
great segue to my next question. So what made you decide to make a committed decision towards improving yourself and your results with this type of, material, this mentorship that we, 10 months?
That honestly, you have to hit a certain point in your life where you said enough is enough. And I feel like that's where I was, where you hit certain, challenges and roadblocks in your life that you feel like it's preventing you to move forward. And that's when I decided, because I think when you asked me to make the payment for the course, that was the commitment right there. Just like, all right, here's a credit card. And I had the ability, right, to make that change. And so it was just a decision that I had to be made at the time. And I said, you know what? Something is telling me this is what I need to do. And at the time, I didn't know that I was being, driven by spirit. I feel like that's what it is. It is as well. Like it reroutes you and it puts you in positions with people who are giving you opportunities. And sometimes we don't notice that because it just flies by so quickly.
Mm, mm.
And now 2 years later, if I reflect back on that conversation, me making that decision to go into the mentorship, I would say, I was driven by spirit and I was showing an opportunity that can really change my life. And I really love Bob Proctor's like the material. I really did. I understood it because of the fact that he used a lot of references, and he was very articulate, very knowledgeable. This was an educated man. By no means was he a fool. And so I know I wasn't going to be driven to something that was going to harm me at all. And secondly, or there's three things. So one, he was educated and had resources. Two, he was also a family man who was also driven by spirit as well. And that's something that I connected with him on a human level. He was very down to earth, right? And on top of that, scientific, the science behind, the material, like that gets to my nerd side. And I love diving into any information that tells me how the body and the mind works and how, we can really put ourselves in the state of positivity and radiate positivity. And that coincides with my personal beliefs as well. So because that meant so well, it felt like the best opportunity. And honestly, when you told me you were a coach, I was able to say, okay, I'm speaking to the right person, and there's a reason why we're talking for sure.
Awesome, awesome. It's very interesting. You mentioned so many things because my wheels are turning. And you know what really special about mentorship is the materials timeless, right? But when you're going through it with someone else that's passionate about it, that's where a lot of the magic is, you
Yeah,
know? It's kind of like the silver lining in that type of mentorship because it's the application, right? It's kind of like you're
yeah,
watching this your favorite movie, with someone that knows the movie, you know what I mean? And they love it. And, so rather than just watching it yourself, right? So, you
that
know,
is so true.
yeah, it's a lot of magic in the application and accountability, right? Because
Honestly, Jamel, you definitely had held me accountable. Make sure you do your homework.
it
And I loved it.
wasn't too rough on you, I don't think.
No, definitely not. But it was the best mix of accountability. Plus, like you said, being with someone. Also, you also integrated others that you were mentoring as well involved, and we got to connect as well. So, building that community, like you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. And without accountability, we just fall back into our old self and our old habits. It's so easy, right? Because that's what we were used to being over and over year after year. And, it's scary to step out of that for most people, right? And speaking of that, wow, I'm so good. So, what was the scariest part of choosing
Uh,
mentorship? And why did you
oh,
choose to break
choosing.
through that fear?
For choosing mentorship was the financial part because it was something I never done for myself. I have done courses in the past. I actually went and did my business, and you have to put in an investment for that. But when it came to this course, I felt like, okay, this is a hefty one. And that means I really have to commit myself. And, I think a lot of people feel that they won't commit entirely into a program, but I knew that this was going to be a life changing situation for me. And with that, not only did I get my money back, but I also got 10 times fold more of what I put into the course. And so because of that, I was able to be successful. And then honestly, now looking back into it, it wasn't that much after all.
Yeah.
Because when you're at a situation where you don't make enough money, that can be very devastating. But then when you're in a different situation, now you look back to it as, you know what? That was something that I should have done quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. It's your limiting self or your lower self, right? And now
That
you're
is
up
so true.
here and you're looking back and you're like, whoa, I would do it again, right? Because
Exactly.
you broke through like this barrier. So the second part of that question was, why did you choose to break through the fear?
Oh, hold on one second. I think
Yeah,
my video came off.
yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
I still hear you.
Well, I'm sorry, say that one more time because that just distracted me.
No, it's all right. Are you able to get video back on?
I am trying, but it seems
Okay.
like I can only do audio.
Try landscape or portrait, like turn the phone. That might help.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do audio from here on.
That's all right. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, if you know, discover a way as we're talking, go for it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so the second part was why did you choose to break through, that fear?
Interesting. Why did I choose to break through it? I will have to say, I don't want to repeat myself either,
Hmm.
but as a single mom, I would say this in a different aspect, and you're parenting and raising two kids to want to be successful as well, and you want to be a great role model for them. I think showing them that there's other ways of doing things is also something that I wanted to show. I wanted to be a role model for my children and also make sure that I'm not hindering their chances of growing. So when it came to this material, it's not just something that I saw for myself only and for a selfish reason, but it was also because I could see the the ability of how it would also impact my children. And that is definitely something that has happened during this program. My son graduated last year from high school. And,
Yeah.
I feel like because my kids heard our conversations, Jamel, our one-on-ones, I feel like, through those conversations and also hearing how I spoke in general after, going through this mentorship has really changed my outlook on how I see things or how I make decisions or how I speak to people. They started to notice that and they can see that, what, maybe there are other ways of doing things rather than the way that others have told me. So, yes, people around us want the best for us and give us advice all the time, but maybe it's not always the best advice that we should be listening to. And when it comes to, really focusing on what is going to really help provide you with what your purpose is in life, means that you need to surround yourself with a different environment. So I just felt that this would also impact them and my family and henceforth my community, because that's really what I'm really looking forward to doing is not just impacting, my little circle, but I want to impact my little circle first and then let that circle grow and expand out further and further into my community, into my family, into my friends, my coworkers, and then others, and then expand it even further, which is why I felt that this program can actually do that. I
Mm-hmm.
think Bob was the one who said he started out cleaning, in buildings, and then he explored internationally. He went to London, and then his business kept growing and growing, and he's been to so many countries ever since with his business. And I could see myself doing the same thing and following in that footstep.
And you will. It's already
Thank
done.
you.
It's
Thank
already
you.
done. I love it. Wow, this is so good. You know what, Denise? I really want to give this interview justice so people can see you and connect with you. And I had an idea. If you want to jump off and jump back on, you can.
Okay.
And
That'd
I'll
be great.
just,
Yes.
yeah, that way people can see you, and
Appreciate that.
I'll tell some jokes or something.
Okay. So good.
All
I'll
right.
be on in a second.
Okay. All right, folks. This is such an amazing interview slash podcast, I guess, and what Denise shared, what really broke her through, she was thinking beyond herself as well. And I tell you, see that little, that's called a stick person. My daughter is 7 years old and she knows what that is. And she was explaining it on a video I was doing one time. So basically, the things you don't change in yourself, you pass on to your children. And you're passing on some limiting beliefs and mental conditioning and basically things that don't do much service, you know. And now I'm breaking that mold, right? We do affirmations, I ask her her name, state her name. I said, "Who are you?" And she says her name and she says, "I am creative, I am intelligent, and I'm a winner." And it just that really shifts a child's mind believing in themselves and knowing that they can be, do, or have anything that they want. And, I ask, what's inside of you? There's greatness inside me. She says this, right? So imagine what that's doing to her subconscious, to her feelings. It's very, very powerful. And, you can use those affirmations for your kids as well. So it works both ways. So let me check and see if Denise is here because I can do a whole presentation. And let me see if she needs help with this link. Whoops. Looks like we're still broadcasting, which is good. Let me check here. Looks like we're still good. And this is live in effect, folks. So let me go back to Zoom. Sure she has the link. Should be popping on soon. Let me check my phone. I don't know. Let's see here. Participants. There she goes. All right, she needs the link again. Okay. All right. So let me send the link again. So having trouble hopping back on. Sorry, folks. Little technical difficulties, but we're going to keep it going here. All right. So it's nice. But for those that are here live, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me while I'm here. All right, we should be good now. And hopefully we'll have video so you can connect with Denise a bit more. All right, let me go back to Zoom. All right, looks like we're good. I have no idea what that is. Okay. So many buttons. All right, so we'll go back here. Awesome. But yeah, back to this stick person right here. I'll just share a little bit. Um, we as human beings, we think in pictures, right? So, oh, anyway, I don't have to go through all that. But trust me, check out some videos and, as you'll see those, I explain this in great detail. This is you and it helps you understand yourself. So here we go. Hopefully we have video. She's back. All right, so check view. There we go. Connecting the audio. There you go. You're
Here we
back.
go.
Look at that.
And can you hear me?
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Yeah, I was about to go really in depth with this, so you that's for
Oh, I
another
love that.
session. So, yeah, welcome back and I'm glad we have some video now, so it's all good. So, you mentioned something really powerful right before that break there. Um, the thing that helped you choose to break through that fear, you're thinking about your kids as well, right? And I was sharing basically what Bob said that really resonated with me. He said, what you don't change in yourself, you pass on to your kids.
True.
And it's very true. And
Mm-hmm.
but also you can influence them in a positive way by growing yourself, which is the law of polarity, right?
Oh, he's so right about that. So right.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because for all the parents out there, you know, I know for a fact the best investment you can ever make is in yourself.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that years ago, but at
Me
least
too.
at least I got right, both of us. At least I got to know that in my lifetime, right? Because you look
That's
around,
so true.
we spend money on all kinds of stuff, right? All
Mm-hmm.
material things, even, going out to eat and, all this stuff, but it's temporary value, right? So most of it. But when you invest in yourself, the whole universe shifts because you know what you're gonna do. You know what you're
Yeah.
creating. You're betting on
Yes.
yourself. You believe in yourself when you do that, which is
Mm-hmm.
powerful, you know? And I'm thinking about right when I was saying the payment to you, like your limiting self, your paradigm showed up, right? But I had
Yes.
to separate you from that. I saw
Mm-hmm.
that side that wanted to come out. I saw it in that moment. I said, look, there you are. And your other side was like, no, Denise, I don't know. So you have to kind of shed your old self, right? And break through that fear. And you did it multiple times. And I'm so proud of you. And
Thank you.
and you can keep doing it, right? When that fear comes up, you either go back to comfort or break through the wall, the terror barrier, right?
That
So
is so true. Yes. Like when you feel uncomfortable, that is a good position to be in because I feel that every time I was in an uncomfortable position, I end up doing a breakthrough, whether good or bad. And that's one thing about this material is that you learn failure is something that we put a name to and put an association to as a negative thing. And I remember that being a really big lesson for me as well. That honestly, these are lessons that we're learning and growing from. So when I fail in my business, I'm actually learning from it. I am retraining my brain to do a different aspect or approach to it that will lead me to success. And so I end up loving the fact that I went through those failures. I told you my son graduated from high school, but I didn't finish with how he opened his own business. And he's 19 years old. He started this at 18 while he was in high school. And he said, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to work for myself. I see that you're trying to do that because I'm still working 9 to 5, but he sees that I have a business that's growing. And he sees that he can just start off as an entrepreneur, which I wish I had that opportunity of being in that mindset and being an entrepreneur at that age. And I told him, you're going to face a lot of challenges. One of the hardest challenge was putting himself out there and knocking door to door, talking to people. I was actually fearful as well. My fear came into place too, several times where I said, "Oh, I don't really want you to go out there because I don't know who you're going to be knocking on whose door, but I didn't want to prevent him from succeeding as well. And I knew that's what that was. It's a protective barrier, but we hold ourselves back when we're in fear. And for him to step out of that, I had to show him, that I was not fearing, although I was, go through that fear, to utilize it, and to make that as an exciting opportunity to change it around. And for him to say, I was knocking door to door on people's homes, but then I went to businesses. And he went to businesses where they were just rough, really rough. And then he went to a business that said, you know what, I see opportunity in you, and I love that you're young and you have this entrepreneurship spirit, and I want to, give you the opportunity. And that's all he needed. That's all he needed was just someone to say yes. He got a lot of no's though. And so I told him, look at how far you came along with all those, you know, feelings of not wanting to knock on people's doors or going into those businesses. And now you're like, oh, if you say no, that's okay because I know someone else who will say yes. And that's a great feeling to have.
Yeah, yeah, I love that story. And I remember the post that you shared as well when he was starting his business. So that's so amazing, you know.
Yeah,
You
you gotta be proud mom moment.
yeah, you do. And you know what? Bob is screaming at me right now. He says, "You're only a failure if you stop."
Mm, it's
So if
true.
you keep going, you're never a failure. Look at Edison, right?
Right.
999 times a failure, but if you succeed once, you're a success.
Wow.
So
Yep.
really, and that reminds me of, Earl Nightingale's definition of success, right? The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So
I
if
love it.
you're moving towards
Mhm.
your goal every day, it doesn't matter what these little losses are. You're not failing. They're actually opportunities to learn. They're blessings. And I had to switch my perception on that. So
Mhm.
anytime you're moving towards something that C-type goal, you are winning because you're not
Love it.
lost, right? And you're not guessing. You're progressively realizing that worthy ideal for you.
Mhm.
So it came into my mind as you were saying that because sometimes it feels like a failure, right? Because oh, these people didn't show up, or I didn't get that sale, or I didn't get that call, and it's not moving fast enough. But there's an equal and opposite to everything. You have to see
So
the
true.
wins in every moment. Every day there's wins. You just have to open your eyes to it, you know. So there's the coach coming out again.
Well, that reminds me of the pendulum swing, right? As much effort that you're putting into it, that's the results you're going to gain back from it. And so the more you put into it, the more you gain back. And I realized that through this, the teachings and, it's one thing to say it and then another thing to see it
Yeah.
because for a long time in the beginning, I wasn't seeing it. And there was that doubt that comes in, right?
Oh yeah.
And I will tell you, I had that doubt knocking on my door many times. And, you still persevere through it and you still stick through to it. So obedience was like the key, I would say, through all of this was just making sure I stay consistent.
I think you answered my next question with that. I'll just ask it just in case. What would you say was your biggest challenge before committing to mentorship?
For committing. So I know I was looking into this for accountability. And that's why I needed someone to do this with me because you could do self paced, absolutely. But if I did this self paced without someone on the other side that is, you know, testing my skills, did you read it? What did you like best about it? Tell me about it. So I have have to
Key
read it,
questions, right?
right? And so it's like having a test. And I was like, uh-oh, I didn't study. And so having that accountability is so important for me because otherwise I was blowing my money away, right? And that material could be sitting in a dresser somewhere and away, but like I actually have the material still next to me. And it's something that I frequently, look into my notes because of so much value that was into it. But Jamel, without you, I wouldn't be able to really stay focused on the material and really climb through it. There were times where I felt sick, right? Sickness happens. There are times where I'm stressed from work or, family life happens and personal matter happens. But still, you were always following through and following up with me and connecting with me. So I personally appreciated that because the times where I couldn't even jump on a call, you would, like I said, do a recording and I would watch it. And it will just keep me like you're the GPS again, reroute me to stay focused on the path. Because on my own, I was trying that before. I try to watch YouTube videos and, fall in love with Bob Proctor's material. I did, but if I were to tell you, what are the steps or the tools to really make sure that you follow through, that would have been really challenging because you're going through a bunch of YouTube videos, and now with AI, there's so many that you don't know what is real or fake. And with the program, you're getting the actual material from not just Bob Proctor, but all of the predecessors before him and all of the teachings, and so you're getting so much wealth and value. And then with your value, the education that you put into it, I know you have given me a ton of books to read, references, or, there has been so many materials and tools that we talked about, such as the mirror work. That's my favorite. Or you bringing in meditation into our sessions have been so helpful. So I would say that accountability was the what I really truly desired out of all of this. And having a coach is like having a trainer in the gym. You can have a membership, but if you don't go, no one is going to get mad at you. But if you have a trainer, on the other hand, and is asking you, did you follow your diet? Did you go to the gym? Because I didn't see you on our schedule. Then you have someone to hold you accountable more and you find those results a lot quicker, which is necessary through this, honestly, in my opinion, because you really want to take the information and apply it immediately because it's life changing.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely wanted the quickest results for you as well. So,
I appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me of something when you said watching just videos, a lot of people do that, right? So what they're getting is snippets of this part and that part and this part, and it's all like jumbled up, and they're expecting their results to change that way. It doesn't work that way. I thought it worked that way early, early, early. And I used to, oh, I know this stuff. I know that. But I talked to a lot of knowledgeable people. But here goes Bob again. You can have superior knowledge, but inferior results. So some of the smartest people in the world, they just, don't use that, appropriately, right? Where they get the results that they want. So, and all it is in the conscious mind, right? All this knowledge just there, but the subconscious, it's still programmed since you're probably 7 years old, right? So it's
Um,
interesting you bring that up. It reminds me of people that, have a lot of knowledge and just watch videos all day and they think things are going to change. But I'm so glad you mentioned that. I can do a whole post on that. That's good content. Thanks, Denise.
yeah, actually, when you said, like, these are things that you're overcoming since you were a child, and it really is, it's a mind-blowing situation when you think about how it's all in your mental mind of how you're holding yourself back. And so when you said that, it's reflecting on, everything that I have accomplished was because I feared of actually doing the steps. And then once you actually do the steps, it's not as hard.
Exactly. It's not
And it's
hard.
just the fear. It's just the mindset. And it's so crazy to see that and witness it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. You're reflecting now. So that's good.
Yeah.
So what has been the biggest realization or the topics that have been the most helpful you've received from mentorship over 10 months? Because you did two different ones. Like what was the
Yeah.
biggest realization or topics that have been the most helpful, for you?
The most helpful one, I would say, I love the 333 story. That was very inspirational. All the stories are inspirational. Every lesson I always told you is my favorite. But I would say the most impactful one was, understanding my self image, because that one was the most challenging. I would say self image is something that you tell yourself constantly, like you said, since you're a child, and how to reprogram yourself from thinking the way you normally think. That takes a lot of time and dedication and work. And it was my paradigm was definitely fighting me. It was fighting me left and right.
Mm,
And so when it came to, overcoming that, I was writing down what I saw myself when we did the meditation. Oh, like the visual aspect, that was super helpful for me to understand what I truly want in my life. I don't think we take the time, like you said, to just like let your mind wander and imagine. We used to do that when we were children. And so, when I was a child, I had all these big dreams and aspirations of what I wanted to accomplish. And as an adult, you're just kind of doing the same thing. You're following the grind, and there's no really intention behind it. But with this work, there's more intention. So, writing down the 6 tasks, I was molding myself every single day. And when they say that repetitive is what helps you, and now I understand why.
mm,
Because the more that you do it on a daily basis, the more that you're changing and reprogramming your old self and turning into the person that you have always wanted to be and that you are. And that was the hardest part, was I am already this person. How? I don't see it. I don't feel it.
mm.
And it's because I was holding myself back, and doing all this work on a daily basis, I was able to really change my style. I was able to change my confidence. The confidence boost was a big one,
You got a new car too?
because I well, that's the material part, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I got a new car, I gave my son my car. We go on these trips and we have the best time, but I feel that all the personal inner work that we did helped us accomplish all that outer work that you see. But the inner work inside, that is the hardest part to mold. So for me, the self image part was definitely the one that I felt that was the most challenging, but also the most impactful. And I appreciate that lesson so much, because you gave me a couple of books. Um, this is The Art of Acting that you asked me to get.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Very great book with
Yeah.
Stella Adler. And, that helped me start my journey on molding myself of who I want to be, and really thinking about that. Who are my role models in the world, and how do I aspire to be more like them? And what can I do to really change, my world environment and be more like the person that I was thinking in my mind? Because for a long time, I put that out of my mind.
Mm, mm. Wow, this is so good. Self-image, I can talk forever about it. Everyone has an inner image and an outer image. And sometimes we don't even realize we're the only problem and the only solution,
So
right?
true.
And we can
Yeah.
create whatever self-image we want, right? And believe it or not, the paradigm is around 95% of it is your self-image. So
Wow.
the outside reflects the inside. It'll always do that. And
Mm-hmm.
you can always create the higher and higher version of you. Doesn't matter the money, the material, the lifestyle, it doesn't matter. It's your own
So,
imagination, that special imagination. And you mentioned imagination, right? It's fun to tap back into that. And okay, who do I want to be? What's my day like with this, whatever, right? And it's called a self-image script, right? You can write the life you want to be, and then you impress your subconscious mind until you believe it. But there's different steps. There's mirror work, like I mentioned, like you mentioned, and it's the repetition is the key to learning,
yeah.
And if you think about it, we've been repeating all these years of our life to be who we think we are, right? So what's the reverse of it? Let's override what we thought we were to the version we want to be to basically attract everything else on the outside. So it's amazing, this material, and I'm not talking it up, like we're living it, right? So it's not like you just
We really are.
you're living it. And I'm so glad, you're still applying it because it's lifelong material.
Mhm.
So speaking of that, of life, what are your biggest wins in your life,
Oh man,
would you say?
my biggest wins.
Yeah.
There's so many in this 2 year journey that I have been in, right? But I am the most proud of because I am a mom. And for myself personally, is just seeing how my kids have also adopted this mindset. And it's like breaking generational curses. And it's because it is generational, right? My parents did the very best that they could to raise me and gave me the best advice that they were aware of. But if I passed on the same information, right, I'm going to be offering my kids the same type of hope. And not that my parents weren't the very best parents, because they are, but we really want to surround ourselves with the mindset of abundance. And that was not really something that was awareness in their generation. And now with the internet and information being given to us at the speed of light, basically, we have so much wealth of information now. I wouldn't have been able to touch upon this information if it wasn't for it. So I'm very grateful. But when I see how it has impacted not myself, but also my children and how they see themselves, because now they know that sky's the limit. They know that they can make money. And if they lose money, they know how to make money again because they have done it before already. And if they fail at something, they don't look at it as, oh, this is, detrimental in my life. It's a failure because I can learn from it. And so if they don't do well in school, they know what they need to do in order to do better in their grades or, with their friendships and their relationships with others. So I have seen them blossom so much, and they have huge dreams, bigger than mine. And I think that is the biggest takeaway from it because it all started with, the mindset of I just got to keep grinding and growing and saving money. But then now it has changed to I have so much opportunity left and right. If I were to lose my job, I know that I can find another opportunity around the corner. It's simple
I
as that.
love it.
That's the mindset of having.
I love it. I hate to do this. Let me run. I'll be right back on camera.
Your turn.
Feel free to share anything you like. The floor is yours. I'll be right back. Sorry, Denise.
No problem. Oh, I love that picture there. So I will share this. When you graduate, you also get a certificate from Thinking into Results if you plan to do the course with Jamel. I was able to receive my certificate as well, and it's something that I'm very proud of. So that's another thing that he asked if there's something that I'm mostly proud of. which is accomplishing this course because this has helped me to really change my life. I don't say that loosely, not at all. When I say that it has helped me financially, absolutely. But when it has helped me in other ways, when it comes to my relationships with my family, my friends, and also just you start being more aware of your surroundings, even more so that you are almost like understanding why people act the way they do. For instance, when someone gives you an advice and they give you advice because you give them an idea that you've been working on and you share it with them and they tell you, oh, that's great, but, and it's always the but. I, you probably don't have the resources, you don't have the money, you don't have the skill set, you don't have the education. Those advices come from the heart. They really do. But what I have noticed is it's because they have never seen someone actually overcome those challenges. And so when you surround yourself with people who have overcome many challenges, then your mindset is going to change to the point where there's endless possibilities and opportunities that you can actually choose. And I'm actually at a point where in my career, I could either grow into my company that I've been with for 17 years, or I can leave and start my own business. And that is an exciting thing to actually think about because in the beginning, I was in a situation where I thought I had to work the 9 to 5 the rest of my life and retire there. And that's the way things go. But now I'm starting to see so many different opportunities and possibilities that it's endless.
I love it.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry I had to run there. That's so unprofessional. Well, we're even now.
Yeah. And
Sorry
it's
about that.
okay. I was just talking about, when people give you advice, it's coming from the heart. But usually, when you surround yourself with people who have overcome challenges that people feel that you can't overcome because you don't have the resources, then your mindset changes.
Yeah,
So I was just kind of like giving that information.
good, good. Great information. You're full of value. I know it. I wanted to shout out some people showing you love right now. Donna, Shantae, sorry if I
Oh,
mispronounced Chinyembe. Hi, Lynn Marie, Aaron. Yeah, a lot of people showing you love. So
thank you, you guys. I love them. These
awesome.
are coworkers. These are friends of mine for so many years I went to school with. So I really appreciate the love.
Awesome. So tell us
And family
about,
members too.
yeah?
Yeah. And I was saying, and family members too.
Yes, hello to the family. So tell us about what you're currently doing. You shared a little bit at the beginning, what you're doing professionally, outside of your traditional job, and what your big goals are for 2026. And
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
So I am a digital marketer, which means that I promote a course called Digital Wealth Academy. And what that does essentially is teach people on how to make money online using social media and whether it's faceless or doing content creating, which is what I love. And so I help people just make extra income and they sell the same course. And that's really the easiest way of making money online nowadays because social media is free and you can use your platform to really grow and talk to people you never worked with before and build a network and community. I have actually build more of a community in person, I will say, because it's always been word of mouth. People who I talk to, my therapist actually referred me a client. So I actually really enjoy talking to people. So I think that comes from my background working in the financial industry. I worked there for 17 years and I really want to help people financially to get out in a struggling financial a situation. You know, I come from an urban background where I saw poverty. I saw people struggling on a daily, and I really wanted to help my community. So, reaching out and giving back to them is something that I'm very passionate about. And I can see why I was working in the bank for so long. It's because I loved helping people. And now I want to do that on a bigger scale and go globally. So I have connected with a lot of international clients and now I'm working on an app. So this way I can hold other people accountable, just like how you did, Jamel, with me. I'm going to hold them accountable to make sure they're doing the steps and really just living fulfillment lives, living a life of purpose, finding what their purpose is, and really helping them to achieve that.
I love it. I love it. So how can people tap in with you with what you're doing?
Oh, well, thank you so much for giving me that platform for sharing my information with others. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
If I can leave my information, I will leave my website and also my handle. You can find me at Denise with Purpose on Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram, but it also feeds into Facebook, so you can find me on both areas. But I'm also in so many other platforms. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube. So I'll put down all my handles in the comments, and this is how you can reach me.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I put it in the post too when I post this.
Okay,
So that way people
perfect.
connect with you and, tap in with what
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, Jamel. I really appreciate you.
absolutely. I appreciate you. So here's a bonus question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Any personal goals you would like to share? If not, it's okay.
Personal goal. Personal goal. Oh, now you got me thinking. Well, I feel that I have fulfilled a lot of my goals, which is nice to say that. I want to buy a house. And more importantly, I want to retire my parents. And this is when you get me emotional. And I think that's really when you tap into your goals, is when it becomes emotional, because then it's something you really want to achieve. And seeing my parents on how much they work so hard. And now they're 65, the retirement age, and they can't retire. So that's what I want to do for them. So thank you, Jamel, for making me cry on camera.
You're very welcome.
Is
Don't
a big personal goal of mine.
thank you for sharing, and being vulnerable to express that, right? Because
Well,
I'm,
absolutely.
I'm sure people can relate to that. That was one of mine as well, to retire my mom, and she's retiring either February or May. So if I don't
Wow.
retire before the
What a wonderful year this is going to be.
yeah, it is. It is, So, when you said emotional, energy in motion, emotion, right? And the desire is unexpressed possibility. So being that you're connected to that goal in such a passionate way, you found something that drives you to become a higher self. I know it very well. So that's so good that you shared that because a lot of people will connect to that, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You really can, you know. So any last words, guidance, or anything you would like to say to our audience?
Mhm. Never stop dreaming and keep tapping into your purpose in life, because you all have a purpose in life. And if you don't know what that is, I would ask you to let yourself reflect and start with being thankful every single day. And whether you cannot see why to be thankful, start with the smallest things. Start with the fact that you woke up and that you could breathe. and that you have a new day and a new life to start over. And if you could do that every single day, I promise you, you will start really reflecting and learning more about yourself, and it will come to you. And I truly would love to see that a lot more people will fall into their purpose in life and get out of the matrix.
Hmm. I love it. I love it. And, for those that are watching, feel free to engage, drop some questions or comments. Always love to see that. And especially if something was said here that inspired you, let us know. And so, Denise, I'm going to flip it. Do you have a question for me? Intuition spoke to me.
What is something that you're looking forward into 2026?
Oh my goodness. Um, well, I am looking at it right now. It's a goal, it's a professional goal to basically help at least 20 people this year. So that's actually that goal is my first quarter goal. So that's
Wow.
professionally, but it's not even, the monetary is an effect, right? It's more of a passion to help people see their greatness within for me. And you know how passionate I got on those calls where I'm sweating or, very, very spirited, right? And I know this world needs a lot of help. And I know there's a lot of people, especially in this group, that want to grow. And I see it. And that's why I'm very passionate about that goal because it knows that I'm leaving a bigger impact. And this is the year. I've been
Really?
kind of quiet. I mean, there's tons of posts of me talking, but no, this is a different version of me now because I've been doing a lot of self work. So that's one goal. Um, that's what I'm really focused on, and also just being open to guidance, just allowing intuition to tell me where to go, and I'm gonna do it. And also. And that's why we're doing this today. Intuition told me, hey, contact Denise. We work together and she's amazing and I want people to see that.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a big one for me. And just be more present. Be more present in every moment rather than
Mhm.
rushing or hurrying I'm all about being in the moment, being more aware of my thoughts. So these are like, you know, personal goals, but they're synchronous to everything. There's nothing separate. I know that now. Great
I have to
question.
ask you.
I'm sorry.
I have to ask you another question though.
Yeah, go
Out
for
of Okay, after mentoring, right? What has been the biggest rewarding feeling, or the biggest reward you ever gotten out of mentoring so many people and seeing all the lives that you have impacted?
You know what the biggest reward is any messages I receive of people's results with this material. Hey, I just got my first client. Oh, that's one of your, like someone else I'm working with got their first clients, and then saw like one of my clients' Instagram blew up, like tripled its followers, and even like major celebrities was reposting his content.
Wow.
And it's never happened to him before. And this is he was a little afraid to do a new account. I said, you know what? Start a new account and just use your name. Just be you. And
Nice.
everything, as soon as that happened, I forgot I gave him that advice. It just catapulted. And now he's getting affiliate offers and a lot of people want to work with. All these opportunities are coming to him now. And, that's the reward that, it's priceless to me because it's just, I'm like, yes, you're being coachable. You're allowing the material to come in and you're taking it step by step, like day by day. You're not trying to, you know, do tomorrow's work today, you know. And I just sleep better. And it's funny, I always say I never thought I'll be sitting here. I never thought I'll be doing this. You know, it's a calling, right? I've been called to do it, and I get a lot of passion out of seeing people change with this material. And they even think different now. Like they see themselves at a higher place. You know, some people that I spoke to and even worked with couldn't imagine themselves ever investing in themselves for one. And then there's another level where now they can imagine, their lifestyle that they want, travel. Some people never travel out of the country. So now they can see that there was some people going through some really tough times, and it's hard for them to see the other side because they allow the outside world to kind of dictate their own thought process. So when I see those shifts, it means I'm going in the right direction. It means everything.
Love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you gave him the advice to be authentic and be himself. And that's all it took.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's priceless.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And that reminds me, Bob always said, "Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I?" It's whoever you want to be. You can keep recreating yourself, create yourself. He said, "I'm not my hand. I'm not my name. There's other Bobs out there, there's other Jamels out there, but who am I? It's who you believe yourself to be." And that's through a process, right? And you're actually using that process because you're changing your self-image.
So true. So
Yeah.
true. Yes. And I have to say, the one thing that Bob always mentioned as well is that we are designed perfectly, perfectly. And so to tap into why or how we were designed and what our purpose is the fruit of everything. And so that is where I feel that, I'm finally able to say, I am Denise and this is who I am.
I love it. I love it. This has been such a great interview, podcast, call, whatever you want to call it. Wow, I knew we were going to talk today, which is
I knew
great.
it too.
I think this goes in the record books, the longest one on here. Or unless I was talking by myself. So, Denise, this has been amazing. Thank you
Thank you
so much.
so much.
Thank you for
Yes,
being open.
I have to say thank you so much, Jamel. This has been such a great honor. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for opening your platform for everyone to provide not only their testimonies, but to build community and the fact that you are always still involved, even after the mentorship ends, you never discontinue to communicate or to connect with me. And I really do appreciate all the energy that you put into others because you do leave with a tremendous value to people. So I just wanted to thank you one more time for allowing me to be on here.
Absolutely. It's my honor and it's a privilege. I'm grateful you are here and grateful, you being open to sharing your journey and what you're doing. So again, everyone, once we post this, go in the comments. Denise will have her posts or links there so you can link with her and connect with her. And I'll be reposting this kind of little fancy like because Facebook takes them down. So that way it's up here forever and you can always rewatch it and connect with it. And Denise is doing amazing things this year, and make sure you tap in with her. So, are we still live? Good. I think we are. Good. Okay. So, anyway, this has been awesome, and we'll do it again, right? Sometime.
Uh, yeah, we definitely will.
All
I
right.
have a feeling.
Happy New Year, everyone, and
Happy New Year, everyone. And
much
thank you,
abundance.
Jamal.
You're welcome. You can stay on, Denise. I'll stop the live here.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
There
I
we
didn't know
go.
you could stop it while you're still in the Zoom. That's cool.
Yeah, I learned something new.